Oh, hello. Happy full moon in Cancer. It's the wolf moon. Oh, yes, it's the wolf moon. I'm so ready. I'm so ready for tonight. So during my meditation this morning, just let a couple more girls in. So during my meditation this morning, I actually channeled a lot of what I'm going to read to you. And then we're going to do some really cool journaling tonight, all about the energies of this moon, what it means, how to work with them. I'm just going to put it out there. This is some rude ass shit. This energy is some rude ass shit. It's audacious. It's rude. It's just vulgar. The energy is vulgar. But even though the energies are really tumultuous of this full moon, we can work with them. And I'm going to teach you how. Okay. So we just let a couple more girls in. All right. So let's call in our power posse. Let's get grounded. Let's get serious. And I want everyone here just to close their eyes. Unless you're driving, that would be BAD. But if you're home and you're in your quiet, comfortable space, let's all start by just first closing our eyes. And let's all take 3 deep cleansing breaths together. Okay, so closing our eyes, taking 3 deep, beautiful cleansing breaths together. So go ahead and breathe in through your nose, filling up those lungs, biggest, deepest breath. Opening your mouth, exhaling all the way out. Inhaling in through your nose, filling up those lungs. Exhaling all the way out. Last breath. Inhaling in through your nose, filling up your lungs. And exhaling all the way out. And then when you're ready, go ahead and bring your hands into heart center, into prayer posture, into Anjali Mudra. And let's just call in our power posse. God, Goddess, universal life force energy, all of our guardians and our guides and our loved ones who are no longer here on this 3-dimensional earth plane, and all of our ancestors who came before us and paid it forward so that we may live life ambitiously. Fill up our vessels with your love and your light, your power, your strength, your determination, and most of all, your ancient wisdom. Help each and every one of us here tonight heal and be our most ambitious selves. And I thank you in advance. How'd that feel? Pretty damn good. Did you feel the energy shift, right? So as you guys hop on, if you are able to type in the chat, go ahead and just type in the chat, hey, where you're from, what your name is. I know some of you guys have some weird code names that are your Zoom names. So I just want to make sure that I know everyone's name on here. Not that I don't know who you are, but sometimes you guys have your little, Snuffleupagus. I don't know who the fuck Snuffleupagus is. I don't know who, the boner. I don't know. Y'all have some crazy ass names on your Zooms. Hey guys. Yay. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love seeing all these people. Isn't it so cool to see all these people from all over the world? It's just so fun. It reminds me that I'm doing my work, the work that I was put here to do, and that is unite all of the bitches from all across the globe. And feel free to have your own little side conversations in the chat as well. Jacinta says, I am such a dumbass. I was looking for Snuffleupagus. How the fuck you spell it? Okay, first of all, don't ever call yourself a dumbass, because I will fist your pussy raw. Okay? All right. Let's change our language. Jacinta, my querida, you're not a dumbass. I was just making a joke. Sometimes I like to make jokes. You know I do. You know how I roll. Right? Jessica Harper saying erase. Yeah, I don't like that. We never put the words I am in front of something that's derogatory or negative, even if we're making a joke, because the universe doesn't know any difference. The universe is not Eddie Murphy, Raw, 1986. It's not funny. It's like, oh, she's a dumbass. Okay, I'm going to make her dumber. Like, no, you are not dumb. You are smart as a whip. I'm having bedtime tea already because I'm doing a 48-hour fast. It's just so much more fun than a dirty martini, isn't it? God damn it. Okay. So the energies of this moon. Whew. Is everybody feeling it? Are you feeling it? Are you feeling the crazy? Oh my Lord. Between Mercury in retrograde, Venus in retrograde, and then this freaking moon, man, in Cancer, it's just like, amen, amen. It's a lot. So I had a meditation this morning where I channeled all this information, and we're going to do some really cool stuff today. I'm really excited. So if you do have a journal or something to write on, you don't need it right now unless you want to take notes, which, you know, this is Ambitious Academy. So if you're being extra studious tonight, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. But you don't need the N word. I'm going to use it. You don't need anything until the end where we're going to do some journal stuff. Okay. So the full wolf moon in Cancer, what is this all about? Truly, it's about understanding your emotional fallbacks. Understanding your emotional fallbacks. It's really getting truthful and honest about your bad, shitty, low vibrational, hypnotic rhythm, caca poo-poo traits. Okay? We all have them. Like Jacinta called herself a dumbass. She doesn't really think she's a dumbass, but she just says that because that's probably what other people around her have said. And then we pick it up and then we just regurgitate it. If you guys listened to my podcast today, remember I was pretending I was a parrot. I don't know if anybody heard my little parrot. Charlie, what the fuck off, Charlie, right? We all become parrots. We just hear things and we just spew them out of our mouth without even thinking twice. It's all about our compulsive behaviors. Does anybody here have any compulsive behaviors? I know I do. This can be compulsive behaviors like addictions. It could be addiction to food. It could be addiction to alcohol, drugs, sex, rock and roll, whatever you sickies are into. Okay. We all have it. It could be just compulsive things that we don't even realize that we're doing that are subconscious, right? Like one of my bad traits is I will do everything that I don't have to do instead of doing the thing that I have to do. Like Kim the other day had sent me a meme and it was like me doing all the things that I don't have to do instead of just doing the things that I have to do. And it was like a woman in the desert. She was vacuuming sand. And that's literally so me. Like, I'm like, okay, before I podcast today, I have to clean every inch of the house. I have to do all the laundry. I have to, douche my armpits. Like I make up literal things for myself to do. And it's just to keep me in a procrastinating perfectionism loop that is literally, if you peel the onion, it's all fear-based. Does anybody else do this? Please don't let me hang here and say that like I'm the only psychopath. Hello. Right? We do the things and people will say to me, they will say it proudly. I've heard it like 10 times today on my calls. I'm a perfectionist. And I say to them, how is that working for you? How is that working for you? Are you getting the things done that is going to move the needle closer to be the HBIC, the woman that you desire to be? It's like, instead of just fasting today or like doing, your meal plan today, what do the people say? Oh, I want to start on a Monday. And it's like, why? For what reason? So what if you ate a bag of freaking Fritos? Get over yourself, get back on the baloney pony and ride that sucker into the sunset. You don't have to wait for the perfect time. This is fear-based mentality. And this is the opposite of being ambitious, right? And all of the things that I just mentioned, the emotional fallbacks, the bad traits, the compulsive behaviors, all stem from ancestral trauma. Okay. And when I say ancestral trauma, what I'm saying is it stems from unconscious ancestral trauma, like you, and I don't want to get too scientific, but you all know I'm an Aquarius and I'm a nerd and I study things like a maniac, like I'm a scientist. So I will tell you all the woo-woo shit, but I will also give you all the quantum physics and all the shit to back it up. That's just like who I am. And I'm here to tell you, oh, so Monique's saying, so much ancestral stuff came up for me today in my card reading and a client. Yeah, it's the vibe. And I channeled it today and I was like, But not to get too deep into like all of the quantum physics stuff and all the epigenetics and all that stuff. But I will say this, think about it. I can't remember the exact math and I don't want to butcher it, but literally when I tell you, like, I think it's like 14,000 people had to have sex with each other for you to be here today. I think it's like 14,000 people. I'm not even joking you. I will get the actual real math, but just for you to be on this Zoom right now, living and breathing, farting, eating, pissing, shitting, going on Facebook, whatever the hell you guys do, 17,000 people had to make sweet, sweet monkey love to each other to make you be here today. Okay. So you're telling me that all of the things that happened to our ancestors over those, millennia isn't in your DNA. It isn't in your genetic code. If you really want to get nerdy about this stuff, there's a book by Mark Wolin called It Didn't Start With You. And it's all about how we, through epigenetics, in ancestral wounding, have all of these weird things that we don't even understand where it's coming from. Like, who here hates things tight around their neck? Anybody here hate things tight around their neck? Like you don't like chokers, you don't like tight necklaces, you don't like turtlenecks. Well, guess what, honey? That didn't just happen to you one day. You probably were strangled in a past life. You could have been hung. You could have been burnt at the stake and tied up to, a pole. I don't know, but that is a samskara. And a samskara is just a word in Sanskrit that just means a stamp on your soul. But if you actually study epigenetics, you can actually see where things have happened in your ancestral lineage, in your DNA. Okay. Don't want to blow your minds too much, but if you're into this shit, I'm telling you, it'll blow your fucking mind. And so a lot of the things that we do in this day and age, in this lifetime, it has nothing to do with us. It has so much to do with our ancestral line. So all the women who came before us. Now, let me blow your mind a little bit deeper. Did you know that when you were just a little tiny, like prick, not a prick, like don't get your minds out of the gutter. I'm saying like a little prick, and you were actually an egg. In the egg that was your mother, that was implanted and released and fertilized in your grandmother. So your grandmother and your mother and you have been together always. How many people's heads just blew off their necks? So think about it. If your grandmother, say you're Jewish, and your grandmother survived the Holocaust, she was in Auschwitz, she watched all of her family be marched into the death chambers, the gas chambers, burned to death in the ovens. And she was the only one out of that whole family that survived. You're telling me that bitch doesn't have some serious trauma? And if your mother was an egg already inside of her while all this was going on, and you were already inside of that egg, which was your mother, you're telling me that none of that shit affects you, who you are today in this day and age? Come at me, bro. Okay, prove me wrong. It's true. And I have studied this for so long because so many things in my life have just baffled me. Like, why is this happening to me? Why am I afraid of this thing? Why does this lesson keep coming up for me over and over and over again? And for so many reasons, guys, it's from your ancestral lineage. Okay. So this moon tonight is also about jealousy. It's about guilt tripping. How many of y'all are like professional guilt trippers? You can guilt trip like right off the friggin' wagon, right? I am not that. I mean, I can be, but that's just not in my blood. My mother is the #1 guilt tripper of all guilt trippers. That bitch should have like every award. She should be in the Guinness Book of World Records for the best guilt tripper on the planet. I think a lot of you want to fight me right now because you're like, no, my mother is, no, my mother is, right? This is the energy that's coming up. And also it's all about intimidation. People intimidating you, you intimidating people, things intimidating you, you being intimidated by things. And all other forms of emotional control and manipulation. And all of these things, by the way, you have inherited from your familial, ancestral, epigenetic lineage. Let me just sip my tea real quick because that was a lot. Let me go to my chat real quick. Everyone's kicking my ass today. I love this shit. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm always cleaning, Kim says, right? But like, where does that come from? Why do we feel like we have to be doing all the time? Where did we learn it? That's a learned behavior, right? My mother never sat down. I have never once seen my mother, and my mom is Portuguese, you guys know. I've never once seen my mother sit down in my life, not even at my own home. Like, even if she's at my house, she'll be cleaning the counter, she'll be doing something. And I'm like, Teresa, sit the fuck down. Like, you're at my home, like you're my guest. You don't have to clean my house. It's in her line. That's how my grandmother was. That's how my great grandmother was, right? Is this all like making sense to everybody here? Sandra's saying, oh my God, I'm always that way. I will when, right? Why do you think I sent you guys last night death meditation? Because all y'all motherfuckers think that you have all this time to make these changes and to step into your power and to be the woman who God and the universe and you, before you even came here, chose to be. And you're like, next week, next month, next year. And then you know what? One day is going to be the last day that you put your titties in your brassiere, and then you're going to shuffle off your mortal coil. And that's going to be the last day that you put those boobs in those over the shoulder boulder holders. It's going to be your last time. So when are you going to jump? When are you going to make the leap and step into your power? Because guess what? I hate to say it, but no one's coming to save any of our asses, as we have not already experienced in the last 2 motherfucking years that we've lived on planet Earth. Okay. We have to save ourselves. Gila says, I keep seeing videos about the divine feminine healing ancestral trauma right now. Yeah, because I think that the reason why you're seeing it is that, well, your reticular activating system now is on, right? Because once you see one thing, your RAS is like, oh, it's like me and Kim call it truck nuts. Do you guys know what truck nuts are? It's those big balls that hang off the back of people's cars. You know that like guys have those big trucks, they have the big balls. They're like big hairy ball sacks hanging off the back of like their Chevy. If I said to you today, and I'm going to do an experiment with everybody, hey guys, do you know what truck nuts are? And everyone's like, no, what's truck nuts? And I explain to you what truck nuts are. I bet you tomorrow you'll see 3 sets of truck nuts when you're out driving around, because that's your reticular activating system. That's how it starts to work. It's like when you want a white Range Rover and you're like, oh, I want a white Range Rover. And then what happens? The next day you see like 15 white Range Rovers. It's not that like the men in black are coming for you and then they put all these white Range Rovers in the matrix to fuck your mind up. And then you're like, oh my God, it's Watergate. People are tapping my phone. No, it's freaking your reticular activating system, right? So that, and I think it's really time, Kayla, for us to do this work, because we have been so deep in the patriarchy for so long, and we haven't been in our divine feminine. What have we been in? We've been in toxic femininity, right? It started in the 80s. Toxic femininity started in the 80s, right? Remember when you used to watch those shows in the 80s and it's like, she works hard for the money. And they'd have those big shoulder pad outfits. All the women would be dressed like men, right? And we'd have to like talk real tough, outwork the men, right? We had like this, because we were like, we have to show everyone that we're just as strong, we're just as smart, we're just as tough. And then we became divinely toxic. And we actually started becoming the patriarchy. And now, because of all the things that are happening right now in the Kali Yuga, which is this next phase of life, this next phase of the world that we're all coming and stepping into, it's like, yo, we can't keep going on like this. We have to feel our feelings. We have to nurture ourselves. We have to be, and that's what In Bitches is really all about. I know I come off as tough and I swear and I tell dick jokes and shit, but at the end of the day, it's only to wake you guys up. Because when I say crazy shit, what happens? the things that I say imprint in your brain. You're going to be thinking about fucking truck nuts for the next 3 days. I know it. You're going to see nuts coming at your mouth, at your head, all over the place. Just watch. So don't think I'm a pig, even though I am, because I talk like this. It's really just a technique to like wake you guys up, right? And that's why you're seeing that, Kay. Jessica says, I have that book sitting right next to me. It's such a great book. It's such a great book. It's like one of my favorite books. And it's actually funny because I don't know if you guys know this or not about me, but I'm very open with it. I didn't talk to my mom for almost 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. And it was really one of the best things I ever did for my entire life. It helped me heal my relationship with her. And I was speaking at this place called 1440 Multiversity, and it is in the Redwood Forest in California. And Mark Wolin was actually speaking that same weekend. And I was in the dredges of not speaking to my mom. And I met him and I like literally fell in love with him. I still talk to him to this day. And like, you know how everything divinely just happens, like when you actually like when you're ready, your teacher will appear. And then I started reading his book and it changed my life. So if you guys are into any of this kind of stuff, pick up the book. It's an awesome book. It's also really great on just listening to it on audio. So if you're like, I don't have that much time to read, you can always do passive listening and you'll get just as much out of it. Monique is saying past lives are so intriguing. Would love to learn more. You know, I worked with Dolores Cannon before she passed away. I also worked with one of the most famous past life regressionists and I mentored underneath her. Her name is Susan Kornacki. She actually lives in Kauai, Hawaii now. And I actually learned how to do past life regression from Dolores and from Susan. So I actually do past life regression in a lot of my healing sessions. And I'm telling you right now, when I started doing past life regression, and I found out so much about my past lives, everything made sense. And it's so funny because one of the days, I'll tell you this little side story. One of the days that I was going to do a past life regression with Dolores Cannon, I was getting ready and I was like putting on my clothes and like Matt was getting dressed and he was sitting on the edge of the bed. This is like a million years ago. We weren't even married yet. We were still just newly dating. And my entertainment lawyer actually hooked me up with Dolores. And she's like, you should need to know this lady. She's amazing, blah, blah, blah. So I remember that day I was getting ready to go see her and I was like getting dressed and Matt was like watching me. And I was like, what a perv. Like, what are you looking at? And Matt goes, Jesus Christ, Katie, you look like you're getting ready for war. Like the way I was putting my clothes on, like I was like putting on my armor, like, And that day, one of the past lives that she brought me to, I was actually a Viking war strategist in my past life. Both Susan and Dolores both film their experiences with people. I also do if people ask me to. And I would have never believed it because I was that bitch that was like, no one can hypnotize me. No one can do this with me. I'm too strong. I'm that bitch. I was like out in 3.2 seconds. Like she was just talking to me and I was like dead. Okay. And when she brought me to this life, when I was a Viking war strategist, I literally spoke ancient Norse language fluently while I was under hypnosis. And I have the video. So I'm not lying. I'm not just making this shit up to like be like, woo, titillating. It's insane. The things that are stored in your Akashic records that you don't even know how to tap into until you facilitate these types of healings with people who, know how to do past life regression. And so much of like how I was holding myself during that time was very like a war strategist. Like I was like, all right, I got to move this one over here. I got to make sure that this one doesn't fuck with me. I have to protect myself over here. And it's like, none of that shit was serving me. It served me in my past life when I was a Viking, but it certainly isn't serving me as Katie motherfucking Boyd circa 2011, So Monique, we can get more into that. And we are going to get more into past life regression. I am going to lead you all through a past life regression coming up soon for one of our Zooms. So stay tuned for that. He was saying, yes, I freak out about that. And about rugs, LOL. I think I was dragged in a rug to my death. Probably were. People hate turtlenecks. They hate, people are afraid of drowning. I'm like, did you ever have a drowning experience in your life? No, never. Fire. My mother is petrified of fire. If I have candles in my house, she will literally I see her out of my periphery. She will look around and she will blow my candles out. I'm like, Teresa, what are you doing? I don't like candles. I don't like fire. I'm like, where does this come from? So a lot of it comes from these past life regressions. Jen saying mine started after a car accident 21 years ago. It's really funny because I got into a car accident in 2004 and I was hung by the seatbelt. I was in a ravine on the side of the road. And that is when a lot of that shit triggered for me too. I broke my thyroid cartilage and I tore 40% of my vocal cords. And I had to actually relearn to speak. So the voice that you hear now is not my real voice. My voice was much higher and more feminine. And it's funny because when I had my television show Wicked Fit on E! Style and Bravo, a lot of people would come to me and they were like, are you really a man? Are you they would be like, are you a tranny? Are you, because my voice is so deep. And now I'm like, dude, I wish that I had a show now because no one would have ever fucked with me. Because now I would have been, they would have been canceled, but no one was canceling them back then. They were just coming for me left and right on Twitter. Sandra saying guilty. Yep. I know a lot of you guys are, and that's okay. But when you admit you have the problem, then you can fix it by doing things. Like I always say, if you want to have things you never had before, you have to do things that you've never done. Right. Monique saying same with my mom. And then she burns herself out. I always tell her no one likes a burnt out bitch. Hello. Hasn't she listened to that podcast, Mo? Come on now, girl. Dawn says, a lot of what I do, I have felt is in spite of my mother, not because of her. She doesn't clean much. I like everything to look wonderful. She can't cook. I love to cook. She doesn't work. I work for everything and refuse to rely on anyone. It's weird. Well, a lot of that is just like, I don't like the way I grew up, so I'm going to actually be the opposite, right? And that, Dawn, is so beautiful because in that way, you are breaking the generational curses. You know, I talk a lot about breaking generational curses and ancestral lineage healing in the book Ambitious and some of the later chapters. So just know and be so proud of yourself that you're breaking those curses by being the opposite of that, you know? Kim says, send nuts. Please, if you guys see truck nuts, please post it on Ambitious Academy so we can like tally all the truck nut pictures. That could be a whole situation. Or if you have your own truck nut situation, post what your truck nut situation is. It could be, you know, a electric blue BMW. It could be, I don't know. Just post it. Kayla, it's called, It Didn't Start With You, and it's by Mark Wolyn, W-O-L-Y-N. No, W-O-L-Y-N. Yes, I said. And it is on Audible, right, Aubrey? Yeah, I love audio when I'm walking or driving or even just like cleaning the house. Like I always have something that's inspirational and educational, empowering. I never let the army of the aliens let my mind know that it's getting too quiet in there, you know, because that's when the bad stuff. I do, Monique, I do offer past life regression healing. I actually do. But I don't do it for people I don't know, really. I mean, like if I know you from the academy or whatever, I'd do it, but I would never just like let some person I never met off the street do it. Cause it's, I don't want to say it's dangerous, but it's very unpredictable. And a lot of people can have a lot of very adverse reactions. So obviously I know you, Monique, like I know who you are. So I, you know, if you step to me, I would take you out by the back of the knees, you know, I would like tackle you. No, just kidding. But it's unpredictable. So I have to like trust the person that I'm doing it with. And I really desire for the person to also trust me, you know? So yeah, if you're in to that, guys, inbox me. I'm more than happy to set up a session with you when I have time. Oh, thanks, Obs. I love the Smoky Katie voice. Thank you. I appreciate that. Dawn said, mine is knives. Every time I see someone with I think they're going to stab me. Probably got stabbed, girl. Probably got stabbed. Dawn says, I had a really wonderful childhood though, but my dad is my mom's polar opposite. So maybe I'm just more like him. Could be. You know, it's really funny because I had a lot of healing sessions. I had a lot of one-on-one coaching sessions today. And I was doing a lot of deep work with them. And so many women that I had these sessions with were like, I had like a really great childhood. Like, I don't understand. And I was like, okay, you're going to say that to me? All right. And I just like fucking went ham on them. And then all of a sudden they were like crying. They're like, oh my God, I didn't even remember half of this stuff that someone said to me. I'm like, just because you weren't physically, mentally, sexually abused as a child and your dad wasn't a drunk and your mother wasn't a heroin addict doesn't mean you didn't have trauma. Okay. It's like, just stop. Sandra says, I grew up so insecure, I decided not to pass it on to another little life. So no children here, only fur babies. And so not sure I have done anything better at being a mom with them. You know, it's about mothering yourself. If you're not a physical mom to a human, it's really about mothering your own self. It's a great way to mother your own self. I don't have children of my own. I have a stepdaughter who's my daughter, but she's not my blood. She's not my ancestral lineage. So I feel like I did a really good job raising her, and I don't have any children of my own, but a lot of this deep work that I'm doing with you guys, I've already done this, and it was really a chance to mother myself and mother myself in the way that I didn't get mothered, you know, like telling myself, like, you know, it's okay to be a size 12 and it's okay to be a size 2. You're still lovable just the way you are. You know, when I grew up, it was like, if you're not thin, you're not beautiful. And if you're not thin, you're not worthy. And if you're not thin, you're not going to make anything of yourself. And if you're not beautiful, you're unworthy. And if you're not beautiful, you're unlovable. And if you're not beautiful, you are not, you know, worthy. That's how I grew up. And it's no fault of my mother's. That's just what she knew. And that's how it was passed on to me. And then what happens is you get so afraid of getting fat and you get so afraid of losing your looks because you're like, this is all I have for people to love me. And that's not true. You are lovable, you are worthy, and you are enough just the way you are. I don't care if your titties are hanging down to your motherfucking kneecaps and your punani is like 2 roast beef flaps flapping in the wind. You are lovable, you are enough, and you are beautiful. That's going to be the title of my next book. I hope it's a big book and there's a lot of space to write on the front cover. Kelly says, past life regression stuff can be scary when you see what has happened to you. Oh yeah, 100%. You know, I had a fear of dying alone. And I don't have to go into it because I don't want to waste more time because we have a lot of stuff to accomplish today, but I had a fear of dying alone. And in one of my past life regressions, I realized why I had that fear. And then I just wasn't afraid of death anymore because I healed that part of me that was afraid of dying alone. I was just like, I'm good. You know, we came into this world alone and we're going to go out of it alone. That's why it's so important to make the time here so incredibly potent, right? Monique says, after Merkin retrograde, let's book something. Yes, queen, I'm here for it. Yeah, right, Mo. Pageants fucked me up too with all that mindset. And I have unlearned and I have deprogrammed so much of me, you know, and I still get those twinges. You know, you get older, right? And you start looking in the mirror and you're just like, oh, I could just pull that up a little bit or smooth that out a little bit and make my lip a little bit. But it's like, for what? Literally, I am so blessed. I could be 700 fucking pounds. My husband could literally power wash me in my yard, like Bar the fucking elephant. And he would still be like, you are so sexy. You are so beautiful. I love you. The first man that ever just loved me for everything, shitting my pants, vomiting in front of him, right? Naked, pimples on my ass, hair growing out of my chin. He's like, you are the sexiest, most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. Every man that I met before was like, if you're not beautiful, if you're not thin, if you're not any of these things, like, I can't love you. I can't give you my love. And that's how I thought like life was. I thought love was conditional and there was always a contingency. And none of that's true. None of that is freaking true. Matt is a treasure. He is a treasure trove. Let me tell you, that little pain in the ass. I just can't. Is it just me? Or like men don't look around. Like I asked him to get something for me. It was literally right in front of him today. And he just looks in the air and goes, where? I don't see it. I'm like, Ray Charles, look down. What the fuck? I just told him, I go, you gotta go. You gotta go to work. I can't look at you anymore. I'm gonna fucking beat your ass. But you know what? I love him. Kelly lives with Ray too. Yep. It's like, what is the hell is happening? Oh no, God forbid they ever move something. Matt will say, Katie, where's the cream? I can't find the cream. I'm like, just move the almond milk out of the way. It's right there. It's right there. Look around, look around. It's like, what? Is this a Broadway musical that I have to have at my house? Oh, just as it says, I fucking hate that my husband can walk right over something and have to tell him to pick it up. There could be like literally a pile of dog shit on the ground and Matt would just walk over it and be like, why is it smelling here? I'm like, it's your upper lip. It's a dirty Sanchez I gave you this morning. If you don't know what that is, don't Google it because bad things will come up on your phone. The FBI might come to your house. Just warning you. Oh, Lori says, my husband loves me even when I'm not loving myself. My friend Chuck is a treat. He is a treasure. I love him so much. And he is amazing. And that's what we deserve, guys. And listen, none of our men are perfect. None of our significant others are perfect, but they're good. And if they're not good, well, let's talk. Let's kick those motherfuckers to the curb. Kim says, I saw a funny meme today that said, I'm so lucky you found me because you can't find a goddamn thing. That is the best thing I've ever heard. It's so true. Yeah, right. Unless Russ is hunting and he's spotting like I don't even know what they call the ones with the big antlers, all the points. Yeah, it's just, they can't even find their own penis if it wasn't attached to them. Emily goes, I look around to see if I'm being punked. Seriously, I'm waiting for Ashton Kutcher just to jump out of a closet all the time. All of the time. Yes, Dawn, the Urban Dictionary is safer. It's very true. Oh my God. Jacinta, Kim, post that meme if you can find it in the Bitches Academy thread. Are you guys all aware that we all have like an amazing chat going on in Bitches Academy every day? Okay, get with the program, bitches. Get with the program. It's in, if you look at your little app and you see the little message box in the bottom, that's where we're having that conversation. So get the hell over there. And if you can't find it, reach out to Kim or Ryan. We'll tell you how. Okay. So all of us have to use this moon to break the cycle of ancestrally inherited bad shit. Between Mercury in retrograde and this moon being in Cancer, this is the time to do it. Okay. No more pussyfooting around. Promise? Pinky swear? Pinky swear. Okay. So here's the deal. I created some really amazing journal prompts for you guys today that's going to start really helping you. Don't feel like you have to do all of this work tonight or today or even tomorrow. Take a couple days in quiet, carve out some quiet niche time for yourself and do this work. Okay. And really do this work because I promise you, it's going to help you so much. So many of us, we only want to look at the beautiful, light, nice, sweet, kind, loving parts of us. But to really do this work, we have to go into the dark crevices of the places that we've been pushing so much of our stuff down and let it bubble up to the surface. That is what the full moon is all about. The full moon is about releasing things that no longer serve your highest, greatest good. And for every full moon that there is, it's going to be a different energy to release, right, Jessica? Shadow work, honey. We do a lot of shadow work in a Bitches Academy. We're going to be doing a lot. So everybody get your rubber undies on because it's going to be a slippery ride. But I promise it's going to be worth it in the end. Dawn says, is it safe to do during retrograde? I feel like I might spontaneously combust. Yes. It is safe, even though you feel like, your head is going to fly off of your shoulders. I pinky swear I would never do anything that led you all down the wrong path. Promise. I love you all like a fat kid loves cake. So yes, it's safe, but it is pressure. It's a lot of pressure right now, guys. It's a lot of pressure, but no pressure, no diamonds, right? No pressure, no diamonds. My husband will say to me all the time, and I used to want to just punch him and tweak his nipples. He would say, Katie, why do you think that you can get out of life unscathed? Because I was always trying to protect myself, right? From all the things that triggered me, from all the people that triggered me, from all the things that hurt me, from all of my past traumas. I almost wanted to be a fake person. So I didn't ever have to talk about any of my hurts and my fears and all this stuff. And then I started saying to myself, this isn't really helping me be ambitious. This is actually being a big old pussy, right? So this is really the time to do it. It's actually the perfect time between Mercury retrograde. Because remember, we're reassessing, we're reinventing, we're rebranding. It's a cosmic do-over. And then with the energies of this Cancer full moon, which is all about healing your ancestral trauma so that you can be the best version of yourself. This is it. So everybody get out your journals or get out your writing utensils or something to write on. And let's do this work. Does anybody have any questions? Feel free to answer questions. I'm a pretty good Zoom DJ. Me and Zoom, we go way back like babies and pacifiers. I feel like all I've been zooming and booming and zoom, 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 and a boom, boom, just shake your rump. That's been like 1920. Freudian slip. That's been 2020 till now. So feel free to ask any questions. I'm more than happy to answer them. And while I'm doing these journal prompts, if things are coming up for you, write them in the chat so we can have a conversation. Sorry, I have to take my hoe earrings out. You know what they say, the bigger the O, the bigger the hoe, but I just can't anymore tonight. My ears are getting hot. I don't know if that happens to anybody else, but whew, they were in fuego. All right. Let's do this. You guys ready? Okay. The first journal prompt here is, what was one time, just choose one time, just one. What was one time that you remember feeling wronged as a child? What was one time that you remember feeling wronged as a child? And the next question in this vein is, how did you react to that? So when you were wronged, how did you react to it? And now really think deep. Has that wrong that you remember having as a child, has it affected you in adulthood? And how? Whoa, wow. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Yep. Here we're going. We're going down deep, y'all. We're doing the thing. We're doing the work. This is called shadow work. Oh, someone just got off the fucking Zoom. They were like, no, this is too much for me. I'm out of here. Deuces, bitch. Oh, I love this. I love it. Michaela says, what was the last part? Oh, not Michaela. Kayla. Sorry. I was putting your two names together and creating a whole new name. Sorry. So what was one time you remember feeling wronged as a child? How did you react? Has this affected you in adulthood, and how? Ooh. Dawn says, should this be something we do multiple times with different wrongs? You can, because Lord knows we all got them, right? Kathleen saying, my siblings ditched me all the time and today still ditch me on different levels. Oh, who had siblings who would like just ditch them? Like, you can't come into our playhouse. You're a loser, right? Or we don't want to hang out with you. You're a snot face. You smell like farts. Like, this is what we used to do to each other when we were kids. And if Kathleen is saying that as a grown-ass woman, that means that that shit affected her as an adult and is still affecting her to this day, and is creating bad habits inside of her. And don't take offense to this, Kath, but you know I love you. Like, you're a mentee. We talk about this shit all the time. What is it doing to you now? Do you feel like you have to overcompensate? Do you feel like you have to be perfect so people won't ditch you or shun you, right? So if you're feeling brave and you want to share maybe your wrong in the chat, that it's the best way to heal, because you cannot heal what you don't reveal. So tell me, what was one of the things that you felt? Be brave. Okay. The next question, it's a really good one. Tell me about a time you felt let down by someone you'd previously looked up to. Oh, oh. So tell me about a time you felt let down by someone you had previously looked up to. Oh my God, I have chills and my nipples could cut glass. They're so hard just thinking about this. Jessica says, oh my God, that needs to be a line on a shirt. You cannot heal what you don't reveal, right? It's a good one. It's a good one. The more you tell people your story, the more you can be in your realness. I don't know if anyone here listened to or watched Joanne's TA call from this week. You guys, I work with her one-on-one And I know a lot about her, and we're actually both from Taunton. We're both Portuguese. Like we have very like similar. I was listening to her on that TA call, and I was working out, and I was bawling like a baby. Her shit was so real. So many people reached out to me from Ambitious Academy and was like, oh my God, that was amazing. It resonated with me so deeply, blah, 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 blah. And she said to me, because I had inboxed her on the app, and I said, I'm so proud of you. Actually, I'm lying to you. I called her on the phone and I left her a voicemail. And I said, I'm so proud of you. That was amazing. And she says, I feel so free telling my story and really telling my truth. And I was like, this is what being ambitious is all about. It's letting it go so that you can be your most sovereign self. Sandra said, okay, here we go. Thank you for being brave, Sandra. I looked up to my mom, but she was an alcoholic and would say that we would go shopping for sneakers or for school, but then the next day she wouldn't remember that conversation, right? Very similar story. I grew up very much the same. How did that make you feel? When you look up to someone so much and you idolize them, for some of us, when we were little kids, we worshipped people, right? I don't think that anybody should worship anybody, but God. And even then, it's like God made you in his likeness. He doesn't even want to be worshipped if that's the God that you believe in, How did that make you feel? Monique is saying, oh gosh, yep, felt let down when a friend used me to make her and her business look good. Karma is a total bitch because she lost her business and is dealing with issues with the law. I cut that bitch out. Happened a lot in my childhood too, right? And I know this story. This was a more recent experience, but think about it. What made you even get involved in this with this person? Because if I asked you this, and you're a Reiki master, so I'm going to ask you this. You knew then it was wrong. You felt it in your gut, but you still went along with it because you're like, I want her to like me. I want to be her friend. I don't want to let her down. This is what we do. But when you're in your power, you're like, no, that doesn't feel right to me. That doesn't align. You would never do that now, Monique. That's not even who you are, right? But because you went through that a lot in your childhood, that's why it repeats. It repeats until when you heal it. Remember, I always say, wherever you go, there you are. It's just going to come up in different other masks, guys, right? If you don't, like, so many people are like, oh, I hate my husband. I don't want to be married anymore. Well, guess what, bitch? You're not healing what the problem is. And then you break up with him and you get into the next relationship and it's literally just like dating the same guy, but like with a different size penis and maybe like a better ass. Let's be honest. You got to heal it first, and then you will attract the perfect relationship. Aubrey says, so is this as a child? Yes. Like when you were a child, who was someone that you looked up to? But it also can be who you looked up to today. And like, then we can retrace it back to times in your childhood that you were just repeating the same shit. Emily's saying, feeling wronged as a child. My dad going to prison for 5 years due to a major lie by my mother. My dad was my world and I was his, like a phenomenal guy. But my mom, being so mentally ill and manipulative, she managed to play a victim and ripped us apart from one another. Because of all that lost time, my dad and I never reconnected the way I would have wanted. And I had been in so many shelters and foster homes and I had so much trauma. Like, thank you for being so brave and vulnerable and saying that. Like, literally, my heart is just like bursting with so much pride for you, because it's so hard to talk about these types of things. And I bet that felt really good to say it, because we all love you and we just like all are here and we're all like giving you air hugs and like we're fingering your butthole. We're 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink. It's amazing. Like we all are giving that to you and we love you so much. And I love you. I've known you forever. And I didn't even know that story. Okay. So good job releasing that. And guess what? I don't know what your dad's situation is, but you can always reconnect in the way you desire. It just might not be the right time, but if it's meant to be, it will be, right? Kayla says, same. My dad always promised me things and never followed through. And when I was in high school, I was so excited. He actually came to a cheerleading competition and it was in another state. And he left me there because his 26-year-old girlfriend wanted him to come home. I had to go home with another teammate. And what did that make you feel like? Think about it right now. What did that make you feel like when you were a little girl? So happy your dad is at your cheerleading event. I know like how what an incredible athlete you are still to this day. And then what happens? Then you think, oh, that's just how like men treat women. That's just how it is. Right. And you keep repeating that pattern over and over and over. Emily's saying, I haven't spoken to my mom since I was 14 and 12 years. And it is so meant to stay that way. By no means holding a grudge, just don't care to have her in my life. And you know what? Just because someone's your blood, and just because someone birthed you does not make them good for you. Listen to me. Just because someone is your blood and they birthed you, or they adopted you and they raised you, or they're your sister, or they're your brother, or they're your cousin, or whatever, it doesn't mean that they're good for you. People come for me all the time when I say this, like, you're so horrible, you're terrible. I went through hell when I wasn't speaking to my family. The shit that people put me through, and I knew in my deepest cell, in my heart, like that I had to do this to heal my whole family. And guess what it did? It did. And I'm the ancestral chain breaker of my whole entire lineage. And guess what? And I mean this, when you heal yourself, you heal 7 generations that came before you, and you heal 7 generations that will come after you. It's a universal energetic law. Lori says, I was never my mom's favorite. I was her last choice. She told someone that I was dependable and a hard worker. So she always asked me to do the things that she needed. Right. Instead of just like, I love Lori because I love my daughter. No, I love her. It's conditional. And guess what, Lori? She probably felt that way with her own family. She probably went through very similar situations with her own family. Obviously, I don't know your mom's every experience in her life, but I bet she went through very similar situations. And just know that you're loved and you're enough, and you don't have to work hard. You don't have to do shit. Just be you. Space and my growth has made her tolerable. Oh, with your mom. Yeah. And for a lot of us, that's just how it's going to be. And we have to stop romanticizing our mothers who are toxic. There's a really amazing book by Peg Streep. It's called Daughter Detox. And it really helped me so much when I was going through all this stuff with my mom. And now I love my mom so much. And I like understand all the things that she did and why she did them, because I had to step away from it. Because when I was in the hypnotic rhythm with her, fighting and doing all that shit, blah, no, thank you. Oh, it's such a great book, Emily. It's like, honestly, such a great book, like amazing book. Okay. The next question is, this is going to fuck you up because I had a hard time answering this question. What were your parents' or guardians' core values while you were growing up? I don't fucking know. All I remember is my dad just being drunk for days on end and beating the shit out of my mom. Like, that's what I fucking grew up with. Right? Drugs and alcohol. That was their fucking core values. If you have the core values, if you can like pick those core values, or at least one core value, do you actually hold these today, or do they differ? I was actually thinking about the holidays. My family grew up, I'm Portuguese. I grew up Catholic, and everything was Christmas, but it's Christmas, everything was Christmas. And like, my Christmases were like my dad knocking the tree over hammered, my mom and him getting into fist fights, my dad being drunk and putting like our toys together and none of them would work. I remember I wanted a drum set when I was a little kid, and they got me a little baby drum set, and my dad put like the cymbals like upside down like this so they wouldn't make the sounds, and like the thing wouldn't make the snare drum. Like it was just it didn't even work because my dad was drunk, and he would just take the pieces that he didn't know what they were and he would just throw them in the trash. That's how I grew up. So what happened to me with Christmas is I don't do it the way that they want me to. You know what I do for Christmas? I go and do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. I go to the Four Seasons. I order room service. I get massaged. I have like full days in bed with my husband watching Christmas television, like laughing my ass off, dressing up like Ralphie from Christmas Story. Like that's the shit we do. And everyone thinks we're crazy, but you know what? When they see that I'm not a frazzled fuck, and they were all fucked up and they have 6 months of credit card bills to pay off after they bought a bunch of frivolous shit for everybody. They're like, you know what, Katie, you're a smart bitch. Next year, I'm going to do what you do. And Monique Vacon knows what it's like to hang out with Katie Boyd at the Four Seasons. And it is delectable and it is enticing. And I grew up broke as shit and I ain't broke as shit no more. And I like being a rich bitch at the Four Seasons, especially for Christmas. Don't knock it till you try it. And I love baby Jesus. But Christmas is, if you know anything about Christmas, how we celebrate it, it's a fucking pagan. What is the Christmas tree? Pagan. Yule log, pagan. Freaking wreaths on the door, pagan. Santa Claus, pagan. Pagan. It's all pagan. Nothing about Christmas that we celebrate it in this day and age is even putting your presents under the Christmas tree. It's pagan. Don't come at me. I will give you all the information that you need to educate yourself. But I'm not anti-pagan. I'm just saying, don't act like this is about Jesus unless you're making it about Jesus. Okay, I'm going to get off my pagan soapbox now, but I just want to throw that out there for all y'all. That's why I don't get down with that shit. It's like, oh my God, nothing says like baby Jesus's birthday, like, putting $50,000 on your credit card to buy shit for people that, they don't even need the shit in the first place. And when you buy all this crap for the kids, if you have children, what do they play with? They play with the fucking boxes. They don't give a shit about the stuff that you bought them. Boxes on Christmas Day, man, that was good. Monique says, one core value is always respecting people if they were different from my brother and I. My parents worked at a developmental delayed facility for differently abled adults, and I am now a special ed teacher. See, that's amazing. That was something great that came out of your parents' core values. Emily says, this was our Christmas this year due to COVID, but it was amazing. And it wasn't it? Like when we go away, I order room service like 3 times a day. I do what I want to do. I bring all of my masks. I like brush my hair like Marsha Brady. Like I'm like 102, 103. I freaking exfoliate everything. Dude, there's nothing better. Matt is like, what do you do? And I have like eye patches on. I'm exfoliating. I'm doing a peel on my nipples. I'm waxing my ass. It's the best. When do you ever have time to do that? Never. Kathleen Shepler says, I love your Christmas ideas. I'm so with you about the Christmas thing. Yeah, right. All hail Jesus. I love Jesus, but none of that says, wow, this is Jesus's birthday. No. Or these Catholics, like how, I grew up after my grandmother passed away. The only time that my family would go to church was midnight mass on Christmas, just to be like, hey, I'm still here. Remember me? It's like, come on. Right, Jessica, that money should go towards people who need it, homeless, orphans, etc. Who would better reflect Christmas with that crap that we do now? It's just pointless. It's a tool of Satan and it's a tool of the Matrix. Listen, one time, I think it was Earl Nightingale. This really woke me up. Whatever 98% of the human population is doing, do the opposite and you will be triumphant. Go off, sis. Okay. Come on now. Oh my God, you guys are hilarious. Oh, that's what they're called, Cal, the holiday Catholics. They just come around Easter and Christmas, right? It's so annoying. Okay. This is a really good question. Do you often find yourself overthinking what you've said or how you've acted? Oh, I can't tell you how many times a day I literally think of shit that I did like in like 1997 and I go like this to myself. Ugh. Ugh. Oh. Ugh. Right? Haven't we all done it? Something that you said when you were drunk, something that you did when you were angry, right? Something that you said when you were triggered. First one to say it's true, right? So do you find yourself often overthinking what you've said or how you've acted? And let me ask you this question. Let's go deeper. What usually triggers this? What usually triggers it? When you find yourself overthinking, when you find yourself thinking about like something that you did that like made you cringe, what is the trigger that makes you act like that? It's a big one. Okay. Last one for tonight. It's a three-parter. The first part of the question is, how do you react when you're angry? Because this moon is also about violence. It's also about anger. It's all about aggression. It's all about frustration. So how do you react when you're angry? That's the first part of the question. The second part of the question is this similar to other people who have been in your life since childhood? Is this similar to other people who have been in your life since childhood? Time to hold that mirror up. And it's not your beauty mirror, it's your shadow mirror. And the last part of the question is, if so, why do you think that this is? If so, why do you think that this is? My mother would fuck a house up in 20 seconds flat. If my mother was angry, she would break every dish in the house. She would just like wreck the house. She was like a freaking Tasmanian devil. And I used to hate that. It would, the sound of breaking glass, the sound, like just crazy. And it's funny because when I first started dating Matt, well, let me just backtrack for a second. Every relationship I had ever been in up to the point of being with Matt, I used to do the same thing. I would just break shit, like punch holes through the wall. Like I was a fucking heathen. Okay. And when I first started dating Matt, I still had that in me. And if you guys have ever listened to my podcast, Katie and Matt's top 5 biggest brawls, right? You guys have heard my brawl story about the time that I wanted sushi and we were driving to sushi and I said, Matt, I really want sushi. And he said to me, but Katie, there's just so much food at home. Do you ever want to hear that from your man? No. You want him to shut the fuck up about all the food that's rotting at home in the fridge. And you just want that motherfucker to take you for a delicious sushi meal. And I remember being in my Range Rover Sport and I whipped that car around on freaking 101 in Nashua, New Hampshire. And I drove home about 300 miles an hour. And then I said, oh, there's food in the fridge. There's food in the fridge. Oh, guess what? There's no more food in the fridge now. And I emptied the whole entire fridge on the ground. Like did a mariachi, like da, 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 like dance on all the food. And he was like, you're psycho. I'm going downstairs. You're crazy. And I go, oh, you want to go downstairs? Okay. And I took every wine glass in my cabinet and I booby trapped him down into the basement. So if you come to my house, in my kitchen, the 3rd floor and the basement are all attached with one stairwell. So if you go down the stairwell to go in the basement, and it's like you go downstairs, there's a landing, and then you go downstairs and you're in the basement. So I said, there's no way for that motherfucker to get up if I break all the dishes into the stairwell so he can't go up the stairs. A star is born. Listen, motherfuckers, don't judge me. I told you I was a psychopath. See how far I've come in a decade of all this deep spiritual work? Well, come to find out, I forgot that there's a basement door that leads back up into the house in a different way. So that didn't really work out so much. So I was out about $500 worth of food and like about $1,000 worth of plates. Don't tell me that none of you guys have never done this before. Acted cuckoo. But guess what? I was literally just doing the same thing my mother did to my father for my whole entire life. Subconsciously, unconsciously, total zombie apocalypse in the Matrix, psychopath. Now, since then, I've healed that through all of my deep spiritual work. But you guys, that's why when you look at me and you go, Katie's got her shit together. 10 years ago, I was a friggin' hot mess. But I did all the things that I'm teaching you so that you can become ambitious. Okay? So think about that. And obviously I'm telling you guys these stories because y'all, we got to laugh, part of life is laughing, especially if it's at my own expense. I don't mind being the sacrificial lamb. But again, I like talking about it because I want y'all to know that I have healed and I have come a long freaking way, and you all will too, and already have. Okay. So as you guys know, with any full moon, it's a great time to release things that no longer serve you. So take a couple minutes, either, today or tomorrow, even on today, tomorrow, even on Wednesday, because the full moon energy is always 3 days before and 3 days ahead. Just do your work, write down. These are the things that no longer serve my highest, greatest good. These are the things that have been holding me back from living life ambitiously, and write it down and go out under that full moon. I don't care how cold it is. It's like -7 up here in New Hampshire right now. And read it out loud and tell the universe, tell God, whatever, that you are done with this and to take it from you, and then light that shit on fire. And with the fire, with the smoke, with the ash, it will transmute those energies. And like I always, because it's fun, charge your crystals, clean your crystals, make some moon water, right? Put some water outside under the moonlight. Use it to water your flowers, drink it in your tea. It's like hypercharged, beautiful energy, energized water. But obviously, because this whole entire full moon in Cancer tonight is all about this ancestral lineage healing, I really want you guys to do this ancestral lineage work. It's going to help you so freaking much. Ton says hearing it with a facial expression is way better than the podcast. Oh my God. It was a bad day at the Babine residence. Now, I'm not going to act like that was the only time I ever did shit like that to him, but that was like the chef's kiss of my psychoses. Okay. Okay. Oh my God, Jess, you're such a good storyteller. I love it so much. I'm here to entertain all you hot pieces of ass. That's what a Bitches Academy is about. And I really want you all to understand, like, this is fun. Healing is fun. Don't look at it as it's scary. Look at it as like, oh my God, I get to heal all this fucked up shit about me so I can be a better mom when I have children, so I can have better relationships, so I can just have pretty much all around joy in my life. Dawn says, you went completely Kevin McAllister. Oh my God. I was like, keep the change, you filthy animal. Seriously. Kayla says, ugh, this is going to be tough, but necessary. Absolutely. And listen, nothing worth having is easy, right? Nothing worth having is easy. And y'all, we are just scratching the surface of the healing work that we're going to be doing in Ambitious Academy. Just literally scratching the surface. Aubrey says, I'm glad I found y'all because I'd still be with my therapist thinking it was the only way. I'm a big proponent of therapy if it works for you, but you don't have to relive your trauma over and over again to heal it. And that's where therapy falls short for me. I feel like, I don't know about y'all, but like just this 1 hour, well, we went over, but just this 1 hour of talking, doesn't it make you just feel lighter and better? And you're like, I'm not so fucking crazy after all, or my life is not that fucked up. When you hear other people's shit too, you're like, I'm not alone in this world. Like and that is why the community part of a Bitches Academy is so sacred to me. That's why that amazing chat we have going, our private wall that we can just write on it, whatever we want to write on it. This is what I desired more than anything else, to have this community of women who have all gone through so much shit, and we can all laugh and share and really confide in each other. And no one here is judging. Like, I don't even care if you're judging me for being a psychopath, but I don't really think not one person here is like, oh my God, Katie's a maniac. Yes, I'm a maniac. That's why I'm Katie motherfucking Boyd, but I keep it fun. Like my husband always says to me, man, my life was so boring before I met you. And it's true. Like, life is meant to be an adventure. It's meant to be fun. And like he always says to me, you're not going to get out of this life unscathed. Y'all, we are all scathed. I don't even know if that's a word, but we are scathed. Okay. Each and every one of us here has something, at least one thing. And that's why it's so important to show up here, to listen to other people's stories. That's why I created having the teacher's assistants to come on here. So it's not just me all the time, talking at you. Right? Kathleen Ramsey, she just threw the Christmas tree, like a couple weeks ago. And I was like, yes, queen, tell me that story again, where the ball's breaking, where's the shit rattling, where's there glass all over the floor? Yes, do it, queen. And she's like, yeah, I was. And I was like, how'd it feel? She goes, felt fucking good. Sometimes you got to throw a Christmas tree, right? Sometimes you got to booby trap your husband in the basement. If you guys want to laugh, go listen to that podcast. You don't even know what I put that guy through. You have no idea. How he's not dead from my own hands is like beyond my wildest imagination. Okay, do your work tonight. Get out there under the full moon. In the meantime, if you are part of the Ambitious Buddy Week, y'all have till tomorrow night, midnight to sign up. And I don't know if you heard, but if you are part of Ambitious Buddy Week and you are like, I want to sign up, you have tomorrow till Tuesday at midnight to sign up. But if you sign up within this time, you get a $250 gift certificate to use towards our Bitchapalooza. Now, if you're already in Ambitious Academy and you have people that came on that you referred for Buddy Week and they sign up, you're going to get $100 cash gift from me and a $250 gift certificate for Bitchapalooza. So get on your people. A lot of people have been inboxing me. I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid. I'm like, honey, what is more fearful? The shitty, mediocre life that you're living now or not? I say, take the jump, make the leap and be ambitious. There is literally no other way. Either live as an HBIC or go back to your mediocre life. And you know, I'm not being mean. This is just how I talk to people. Sorry, like this is just who I am. Jessica says, that's magic right there. So grateful for all of you. It is magic. And Monique, yes, beyond proud of your strength, Emily. She is a strong bitch. Emily's the best, dude. I love Em. Jen says, as always, thank you so much, Katie. I love you, Jen Bailey. Okay, so listen, it's time to do the work. It's time to do the work. No excuses. No excuses. Okay. Now, in the meantime, if you have any questions, you can either ask them once Kim posts this video on Ambitious Academy. Are you guys keeping track of how the videos are being posted? Listen, don't worry if you've missed videos from last week. So many people are like, oh my God, I missed like 3 videos last week. Who gives a flying rat's ass? You are here for Ambitious Academy for at least a year. Those videos are going to be there forever. You do them when you do them. You listen to them when you listen to them. Don't feel like you're running behind. This is not, listen, we are in a stage of creation in Ambitious Academy. We are not in competition. So get out of that competitive mindset and get in a place of creation and alignment and resonation and transmutation and masturbation. Okay, I'm done. I'm going to go to bed now. All right. I love you guys. Because I'm fasting, I'm going to go take a nice hot bath and let my big titties float on top of the water. You know, it's my favorite pastime. Love you guys. Happy full wolf moon. I love you. Sleep tight. Don't let the bitches bite. Mwah.